Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your monthly horoscope. This one's for you, Virgo. As we come into the month of May, you're going to have support for professional activities, making connections. It's a really good time to strategize for the long haul. You'll probably be feeling strong around the Taurus New Moon on May 11th because it's an earth sign new moon. Virgo being an earth sign, this is very supportive energy for you. Educational opportunities may be in a special focus for you at this time. Now, this month's lunar eclipse could be just the wake-up call you need to make an important adjustment to your home or your family life. I'll tell you more about that at the end of this horoscope, but I'll kind of go in order of this month's astrology. We are coming into a Mercury retrograde cycle. It doesn't begin until May 29th, but we enter what's known as the shadow phase of this cycle on May 15th. And for some people, this can be when you start to feel a little bit of the Mercury retrograde kicking in. For Virgos, Mercury is your ruling planet, so you're probably more sensitive to these types of cycles. That's why it's really important to initiate those new commitments and agreements and big decisions in the first part of the month before we enter the shadow phase. You can definitely be productive during the second part of May. It's just going to have a bit of a slower feel, but you can use that for research, editing, writing. These are things, Virgos are really good at refining things. So I think you can really thrive under the oncoming Mercury retrograde shadow as well as Mercury retrograde cycle by just putting your mind to wrapping things up, catching errors, going over all those small details. It's really good for that. You can definitely feel the Taurus Sun at the beginning of the month, which is emphasizing education, philosophy, spirituality, and new life experiences that may really be calling to you during the first part of the month. Investigate your options. You can make a tentative plan and know that you'll firm it up after Mercury retrograde ends, and use the time between now and then for some research. That's one idea, especially if it's like a travel plan or something that involves a bigger commitment. Now on the 20th, the sun moves into Gemini, and that will light up the career sector of your birth chart. Your communication skills are going to be especially useful in your professional life. It could be a good time to do some important business communications or negotiations. That's the thing, even when Mercury is retrograde or we're in that shadow, renegotiating past agreements can often be quite successful. Now, I think I mentioned the official Mercury retrograde dates are May 29th to June 22nd. So you can have that in your mind. It could be helpful during those dates to reconnect with former work colleagues and build on big projects that are already underway. Now, if you do have to take a new job or sign a new agreement during this time period, just try to keep the terms flexible and open again to renegotiation at a later date. That's always a good way to go. We've got Venus entering Gemini on May the 8th, and Venus will be in Gemini through June 1st. This is also offering support for work-related projects, job hunting, attracting favorable circumstances for your career. And you can think of the days between May 8th and 14th as the most supportive for new projects or commitments. We've got that new moon on May 11th, and it's at 21 degrees of Taurus. It's supporting Virgo Sun and Virgo rising people, especially because it's an earth sign new moon. You can use this new moon to set intentions related to establishing grounding practices, spiritual practices, staying connected to nature, managing your money and material resources, and anything to do with teaching or learning. Those are some ideas. And the days right after that new moon, between May 11th and 14th, are really the best days for new beginnings. We're having that burst of new moon energy. So it does sort of tie in with those Venus days too, as far as initiation. Now we've got that first eclipse of 2021 on May 26th. It's a full moon lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Sagittarius. So if you were born on or around August 29th of any year, or if you have around 5 degrees of Virgo rising, you might feel the most emotional intensity at this lunar eclipse. That isn't always a bad thing. It can feel intense in the moment, but things are being brought to the surface of your emotional landscape to be examined, things that need to be realized, looked at, and dealt with. All Virgo and Virgo rising people might feel some pressure to improve a family relationship or make their living situation more comfortable in some way. I would say that it's safe to avoid extreme standpoints during the days of this full moon. It can bring out people's sense of righteousness and being right or wrong and nothing in the middle. And really the balance you're seeking is likely going to involve compromise and in some cases being willing to agree to disagree. So there's a lot to work with that lunar eclipse, but you can really use it productively. And I hope that you make the most of all of May's astrology. Be safe and be well. And I look forward to seeing you here next month with your horoscope.